In this video, I'm going to cover a case study with my client Rick and how I was able to get him to lose 15 pounds eating 600 more calories per day in just 7 weeks. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online fitness professional. I help men lose body fat, keep it off for good, and get unstuck from fat loss plateaus using higher level forms of nutrition and metabolism manipulation called metabolic priming. So I've quite literally helped dozens of guys just like Rick use this exact same formula that I have created for metabolic priming, and it has proven to not only be the most consistent, the most predictable, but also the most sustainable way of losing body fat, utilizing your metabolism to your advantage, and keeping the body fat off for absolute good. So I'm going to run through you step by step Rick's exact transformation in just 7 weeks of how I was able to get him to lose 15 pounds, eating 600 more calories per day. I'm going to break down step by step where he started, where he's at now, our initial consultation, and the whole 9 yards. So stick around for the whole video because I'm going to break down everything for you in general. So if you've been stuck in a fat loss plateau for some time, don't know which direction to go, don't know what processes to implement into your plan, this should give you some absolute clarity, so stick around for the whole video. So right off the bat, in Rick's initial consultation, we found out that Rick was eating about 200 grams of protein, 144 grams of carbs, and 100 grams of fat, right? So his goals were to get to 161, 163, feel good, but maybe get to 180 with some muscle tissue and develop some muscle tissue in the process and getting him leaner, right? So we need to teach him flexible dieting and reset his metabolism to get him down and feeling better. So Rick works a very busy job, and a lot of my clients that I work with work in the real estate, mortgage, sales, and a lot of high-stress environments where they don't have much time to maybe meal prep or bring their meals to work. So we had to teach them more of a flexible dieting lifestyle because it's more sustainable. What flexible dieting means is that you just have to hit your certain macronutrients per day. You don't have to necessarily focus on certain food groups or a certain amount of food per day. You get to eat what you want, and you get to hit your macronutrients, and you get to be very flexible with your diet, so it's more sustainable for guys that are busy, guys who go and have client, sit downs and need to structure the macronutrients based upon their lifestyle. And is also more sustainable because you don't have to eat one certain food for the entire time. You can understand macronutrients. You can go out to eat with some friends. You can go out to eat with family members, but you just have to understand what macronutrients are and how to hit them, right? So here's Rick's initial weigh-in at 188 on the left. And then here's his weigh-in just from today at 174, right? So he was 188 on the left, 174 on the right, and during this time, we had a couple really big wins. People asking if he's losing weight, people asking him what he's doing, and he's also losing belt holes. And as you can see, with the data to prove it, I was able to raise his calories from 2,000 all the way to 2,600 today. So 600 more calories per day, down 15 pounds, all right? So people that, have been watching my channel for a while think that it's not possible to actually eat more food and lose more weight. And I'm here to prove you wrong, right? Utilizing your metabolism to our advantage and putting certain processes in the form of protein, carbs, and fats to utilize your metabolism to your advantage will help you by eating more food, getting stronger, getting leaner, and getting your body to adjust and burn more calories, right? So in Rick's initial consultation, we found out he was eating 200 grams of protein, very low carbohydrates, which most of you right now listening to this are probably eating very low amounts of carbohydrates, and 100 grams of fat. So we had to restructure his macronutrients to better fit him and to better fit his hormones, right? So right off the bat, I set him with a 220 gram protein goal, which has a higher thermic effect, right? So the thermic effect of food, protein in general, is how much actual calories it takes to break down the macromolecule, right? So protein in general has a 30% thermic effect. So basically, every 100 calories of protein you eat, 30% of that gets broken down in the digestive process. So we wanted to set him with a higher protein goal, and then we wanted to lower the fat intake. So he's eating about 100 grams of fat per day, and we wanted to lower that to 60, right? Why? It's because fat is not only the dial for your hormones, but it's a dial for the digestive process as well. So, looking at his initial consultations and looking at his initial photos, the first thing I could tell is that we need to get rid of a lot of inflammation and a lot of bloating, right? And your metabolism works in ways where, metabolism in general is the process of how your body burns food, right? So how your body burns food. So adjusting your digestion and optimizing your digestion right off the bat will help with your body's breakdown of food, right? Because fat in general has a higher caloric amount of 8 calories per gram. So we need to optimize his digestion and get rid of a little bit of inflammation in his body, right? So how do we get rid of inflammation? By utilizing carbohydrates, right? So most of you guys who listen right now who may have been restricting yourself from carbohydrates or are very low carbohydrate diet for some time. The truth is that your body needs carbohydrates to reduce inflammation, to reduce adrenal fatigue, right? So adrenal fatigue happens when the nervous system is overrun and it doesn't have enough carbohydrates to supplement reducing inflammation. So carbohydrates in general reduce inflammation, reduce cortisol levels, and they are also the preferred energy method of the brain, because your brain quite literally runs on glucose. So people, you listen to this right now, if you think that low carb is the solution to your problems, this should be an eye-opener, right? So we wanted to set him with a protein goal, set him with a fat goal, and then we wanted to start him low and work him up. Why we wanted to start him low and work him up? Because it's predictable, right? Predictable in the sense where we can start his calories low, and we can get his calories up and catch his metabolism up in the process, right? So even in the first couple weeks, right, as you can see within his weight, as soon as we implemented the correct macronutrients, he already just started to skyrocket down, right? Because we, optimize his digestion. We give him a higher protein intake to not only build muscle tissue, but also have a higher thermic effect. So why you want to build muscle tissue more specifically, and Rick is given his own personal training program built by me based off exercise science to accrue more muscle growth. Why we want to really focus on muscle growth in general from a more exercise science perspective is a higher amount of muscle tissue will lead to a higher metabolism. So having more muscle tissue will give you a higher metabolism, right? So a lot of the people who go on diets or try to highly restrict themselves from food get stuck in the point where they lose a bunch of muscle tissue in the process. They cut their carbohydrates, they lose 10 pounds of water weight from the lack of glucose in your body, but they also lose 10 pounds of muscle tissue, which is a problem because muscle tissue is highly metabolic, but it's also highly glucose absorbent, right? So you lose about 10 pounds of muscle tissue, 10 pounds of water weight, and you get stuck in the skinny fat phase, and your metabolism starts to crash and downregulate. So that's what we did not want to happen, right? So in Rick's case, we set him with a higher protein goal, and we started to work carbohydrates into his diet, right? So as you can see right here, over the course of time, as Rick checked in with me week by week, you can see as his body already starts to tighten up, right? Just within the first week, his front shot starts to tighten up, right? So we would raise carbohydrates even more week by week. In 619, 25 more grams of carbohydrates. And then even on 7-3, and his waist started to tighten up. He started to lose belt sizes slowly over time. And then he checked in today at probably the leanest he's ever been. His legs are looking absolutely beautiful, and he's lost 15 pounds, right? So over the course of time, you can see how we checked in every week that he checked in with me. I would give him a little bit more carbohydrates, right? 619, 25 more grams of carbohydrates. Then we had to wait 2 weeks for his body to kind of adjust, because sometimes when your body gets more carbohydrates, it doesn't know what to do with it. So we needed to give it a little bit more time, give him a 2-week break for his body to really adjust to the macronutrients. And then he started to get lower in weight once again, right? As you can see right here, as he started checking, we had a higher weight, so we waited another week, and then he shot down again, right? And then here he is starting to kind of, plateau a little bit more in weight, so we give him a little bit more carbohydrates, and his weight goes down, and then his weight went up a little bit, so we waited another week, and then, boom, his weight shot back down, and then he had a new all-time low in of 173 on this day in particular, right? So Rick's only in 7 weeks with me right now. 7 weeks. So we're going to keep working Rick's carbohydrates up, keep getting him leaner, and keep building muscle in the process. And there will be another case study with Rick. But the purpose of why I wanted to bring Rick up today is that, one, having the correct macronutrients right off the bat and having the correct macronutrients opposed to you, because everybody's macronutrients are different. I specifically use a formula that I've created to really nail my clients' macronutrients. And once those macronutrients are nailed, it not only gives you more muscle tissue with a higher thermic effect, it improves your hormone levels with the correct fat intake, improves your digestion with the correct fat intake, and also improves inflammation, adrenal fatigue, brain cognitive ability, as in brain fog, with the correct carbohydrates. And then when we nail it, then I start to pull strings in the form of carbohydrates, raising those every week to guide my clients along the progress that they're making. And then within just 7 weeks, Rick right here tightened up. His front shot looks absolutely wicked. and even his side shot is starting to get, you know, very, very lean. He's starting to lose belt sizes, and his gut is starting to, you know, subside as well from the time that we started, right? So the purpose of this short case study was to explain that, like, what I use with metabolic priming works every single time with all of my clients, right? I've quite literally worked with dozens of clients that have used this exact process, right? So all of my clients are eating more food. Mason, 1,300 more calories per day. Tristan, 1,300 more calories per day. Devin, 1,300 more calories per day, down 35 pounds. 800 more calories per day, down 10 pounds. 1,000 more calories per day, down 15 pounds. 1,200 more calories per day, down 35 pounds. 500 more calories per day, down 10 pounds in 4 weeks. 400 more calories a day, down 14 pounds first month. So the process I use of metabolic priming is predictable. It's also sustainable because you don't have to, one, starve yourself by eating low caloric amount. You can actually utilize your metabolism to burn more food, create more satiety within your diet, and get your calories up. This is important too because, one, having more calorie bank per day, calorie bank being, you know, the amount of calories you're allocated per day, you can be more flexible. You can go on vacation. You can go eat with friends as long as you stay within a calorie amount. Most of you listen to this right now, I'm fairly guessing that anytime that you go out to eat with friends, or maybe you eat a little bit more than you're supposed to, over your 2,000 calorie, 1,800 calorie limit, whatever it may be, you gain about 5-10 pounds, you know, the next day. That is because your metabolism has slowly down-regulated in the point where you're not getting the correct macronutrients in to supply your metabolism, and you have down-regulated your hormone levels, which now anytime that you eat more food, your body is not used to it. You became very insulin sensitive, and so anytime you eat more carbohydrates, you just gain weight the next day. This is specifically what I specialize in fixing people's metabolisms and getting them to eat more food. I have tons of client transformations, tons of client testimonials. What I do works every single time, and it's predictable. So if you are struggling to lose weight, if you are stuck in a fat loss plateau, you're starving, you have poor digestion, brain fog, you have poor sleep, poor energy levels, I can help you. Absolutely 100% help you. So if you're listening to this right now and you have been struggling with this and this sounds like you, there's going to be a link below for you to sign up for a time one-on-one with me to see if what I do can help you. I'll break down where you're at, where you want to be, and what's stopping you from getting there. And I will build you out some higher level strategy and show you what it look like for you. So in the link of the bio as well, there's going to be a link for my full guide on metabolic priming. And there's also going to be a link with all my client testimonials that you're more than welcome to go through as well. So that is the end of today's video. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.